one of my dad's former students, and his daughter was a great shooter in Gujarat at that time, and she was like, "Why don't you try out the sport?" And that's how shooting happened to me. I am someone who's very active. I want to do 10 things at the same time, and shooting was the complete opposite of my nature. Somewhere that was the most challenging part of the game for me. My first medal was a team bronze in under 14 girls, and it was at the National School Games. Until that time, I was not really into shooting. That medal somewhere motivated me to learn the sport in depth. If not for that, I probably would have been in a different profession by now.
There were two particular shots. I mean, the 57 shots were really good, and then it just came down to two shots.
One thing that I tell myself every day, like since post Tokyo, is that it's not over until it's over. Starting the sport at the age of 11, 12 is considered very optimal. When we have a lot of caffeine, there is a good chance that our heart rate is going to increase in the next hour or so. If I'm going to train at 9 in the morning, I'll have to make sure that I'm not having a coffee or anything that is going to raise my heart rate. Leagues like the Shooting League of India is really important to put the sport in the spotlight, because still now, even after winning so many Olympic medals from the sport of shooting, I think shooting is still not very widely reachable to many people, and I think leagues like this will definitely put good spotlight on the sport.
Welcome to Raising an Athlete.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Pleasure being here and being a part of the show.
Thank you so much. So, the things that I have been very curious to ask you is that I know you were born in Tamil Nadu, and I heard you speak fluent Gujarati in one of the podcasts. So, I
Yeah.
would like to know a little more about your background and your influences.
Although I'm born in Tamil Nadu, I'm completely brought up in Ahmedabad. My parents shifted there when I was, I think, 2 years old, and I've done my entire education, my graduation, my post-graduation, everything from Gujarat. So Gujarat, like I am a domicile of Gujarat, and I call myself a pure Gujarati.
Lovely. Do share a little bit about your early years. How did you discover shooting and what drew you to it?
I think sports was the center for me. I was always inclined towards sports. I kept on trying out different sports. I was into athletics. I tried badminton. I played state level judo. And somewhere during this process, shooting happened as a coincidence. My family met one of my dad's former students, and his daughter was a great shooter in Gujarat at that time, and she was like, "Why don't you try out the sport? Why don't you give it a try?" And that's how shooting happened to me. My dad was like, "You're trying out all the other sports, and why not shooting?" So I was like, "Okay, I'll give it a try." And I'll tell you, shooting as a sport, when I started it, 12, 13-year-old. It is one of the most boring things that I would have ever done, and I would have ever thought of taking it as a profession. But I think the sport has its way of keeping me hooked, and it has kept me hooked till date.
Fantastic. What was the impetus? Was there someone in your family who encouraged you to play sports?
I always felt that I was not a classroom student, and I always was inclined towards the playground, and I always was the most enthusiastic kid when it came to the games period.
What about your parents? Because you did mention your father, and you said that one of his students was a shooter. This is what fascinates me about sports, is that there is so much serendipity to it also. It's just at some level, I mean, sometimes the beginning can be just pure luck that there was someone in the system who you knew. So your thoughts on that?
I think I proudly give up my entire whatever I am today to my parents, because both of my parents are PhDs. My mom is a principal in a science college in Gujarat. My dad is a retired scientist. And I think somewhere they never really forced me to choose the path what they had chosen. They always gave me the freedom to do what I chose to do. And somewhere I really am glad that they had so much trust and confidence in me that I'll manage myself and I'll become the better version of me. So I think I would hands down give it to them that, they choose to let me choose my way. So I think it's very great of them.
Fantastic. I think up till a few years back, like mostly it was people from the army background who would be into shooting, and it's only in, I think, the last decade or so that we see more civilians also coming in, because it's also something that requires some amount of infrastructure, right? Like unlike football where you have a ball and you can
Exactly.
go into the local ground, this requires fair amount of infrastructure. You mentioned that I think you were 12 when you started. So where were you training and what was your experience like?
So as I mentioned, I started training in Gujarat. I came to the sport, I got introduced to the sport in Gujarat, in Ahmedabad, and where this lady Ria Shah, she was training, and I used to go use her old spare weapon, and I used to train on that. And then I joined the rifle club in Ahmedabad again, where I got a little bit more advanced training in weapons, in costumes, and everything. And then I got inducted into the district level sports school scheme by the Gujarat government, in which they had tied up with Gun for Glory Shooting Academy by Gagan Narang, and the coaches were sent to the schools by the academy. And that is how I came in contact with Neha Chauhan, my first and my now coach. And we started training together. And I think the journey is still continuing. So for me, as you mentioned, the infrastructure played a huge part, because luckily I got access to the infrastructure. But as you mentioned, a decade ago, there were hardly many ranges. There were hardly many private ranges. It was once at the army facilities, or in Delhi, or in Pune. There were very few chosen ranges, and shooting is again considered a pricey sport. And to have the equipment itself, you had to go through hassle to get equipments for yourself. So I think somewhere I had access to the infrastructure, I had access to the equipments, and I could find my groove. Considering the situation today, I think the sport has developed more than 200%, because you can find shooting ranges now in every city in India. You take up a name of the city and you would definitely have at least one shooting range. Now, a lot of factors have contributed to that reach, but then again, the sport has definitely developed a lot in the last decade.
Right. So, just speaking a little bit about, that development, I think that shooting definitely has been gaining a lot of popularity also among the Indian spectators. I mean, the hoopla around Paris Olympics, and has definitely to do with the performance of our shooters in Olympics. What's your view? Like, what has changed? Because I think till probably the early 2000s, India was nowhere on the shooting map. Like, we simply did not have the infrastructure in place. So what changed in your
I think the medals played a huge part, especially Rajwardhan sir's medal from 2004 Olympics, and then the huge India's first gold by Abhinav in shooting. I think that played a huge impact on putting spotlight on the sport of shooting, because I got to know about shooting after 2008, and many of them, when we sit and talk, we hear stories from the other athletes. I think many of them got to know about the sport post 2008 when Abhinav Bhaiya won his gold. So I think the medals definitely played a huge impact, and then the continuation of medals in 2012 with Gagan sir and Vijay Bhaiya. I think that all just boosted the sport and put the sport in the topmost place in our country. And now, if you see, we have so many athletes coming up, especially after Paris Olympics coming up. So many young athletes from the age of 10 to 15 wanting to take up the sport, know about the sport, and learn about the athletes. So I think somewhere this medals definitely have played a huge impact on shooting as a sport. And of course, then there's the support of the government for improving the facilities all around India. So I think it's an overall achievement of shooting as a sport.
Right. Right. So you spoke about infrastructure, and of course, with the wins, much of this infrastructure came in place. I also want to ask about like self-belief. And I think it was an anecdote that I read probably in Abhinav Bindra's autobiography only. Something it talks about how the Indian athletes were like previously very diffident. Like if you even gave them a compliment, they would be a little defensive. I mean, that was just our style. We were not very aggressive. We were not very confident. You feel that these medals, apart from the infrastructure that they brought in, also brought about a change in attitude, or maybe like belief to say that we could achieve at the highest levels?
I would say yes, because if you see the performance in the last few years, especially after 2016 maybe Olympics, I think there is a steep rise in the performance of the Indian athletes. I mean, there have been so many podium finishes, let it be the Asian Games, the Commonwealth Games, and the World Cups, World Championships. I think, yes, winning medals at the higher stages definitely boosts up the confidence of not only that particular athlete, but the entire contingent, the entire team, the entire nation, I would say. And I think that is what has been the driving factor in these medals that has been coming up. I mean, you knew that you are the best amongst whoever is standing on the lane, and you're just going there to win it. It's one of the secret keys of success of the Indian shooting contingent.
Right. Right. I want to go back to what you were saying about your early years to say that like shooting felt so boring. And often enough, when you start a new skill, it's not easy, adopting a new skill because it takes fair amount of work before. I mean, whether you're skating or anything, you'll fall 100 times before you actually learn to glide, in ways that you see in media. But how did you overcome that sense of boredom, and what motivated you? Like, what brought you into it, in a mainstream way?
I think me as Ela, I am someone who's very active. I want to do 10 things at the same time. I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do everything all at once. And somewhere shooting was the complete opposite of my nature. Shooting is like you have to be very calm, you have to be very still, you have to know how your body is moving, what muscle is moving, why, and there's a lot of analysis that goes. And you have to be very still. And somewhere that was the most challenging part of the game for me. And somewhere I felt very frustrated that why am I not able to do it? Why am I not able to sustain that stillness, that calmness? And somewhere that was the motivation for me, that, I was challenging myself in ways that I felt I could not do it, that I could not outdo myself. And somewhere that stillness, that calmness that the sport was demanding, and the way I was able to give it, I think that is what made me hooked to the sport. I was challenging myself every single day, because in shooting, if you get agitated, if you get anxious, you have to be even more calmer. And that was a huge task for me. So for me, it was joy, it was an experience, it was thrilling to overcome, trying to overcome that feeling. So I think that is what made me hooked to the sport.
And this is also so fascinating because, one would assume or ask questions about personality types to say what kind of a personality type is more suited, let's say, to shooting. But you, by your own admission, are saying that, you're not someone who was calm, but you just took it on as a challenge. And, even though maybe personality wise you were completely different, but you still found your way into the sport. So I think that's very interesting. Also, tell us a little bit about role of winning in motivating a young athlete in their journey forward. I think you said 12 you started, and probably at 13, 1 year from your journey, you won your first gold medal. What, in your opinion, is the role of winning or losing, for that matter, in an athlete's journey?
I think my first medal was a team bronze in under 14 girls, and it was at the school level, the national school games. And I think it was, until that time, I was not really into shooting. I didn't want to give myself that 100% opportunity to, explore the sport openly. But then it was like I wanted to try the sport, I was doing it. And somewhere that medal motivated me to learn the sport in depth. Somewhere that medal was a stepping stone in my entire journey, because if not for that, I probably would have been in a different profession by now. But that one medal, it kind of changed my mindset from why to try it to why not to try it, why not to give it my 100%. And somewhere that change in the mindset, and somewhere the sport challenging me every single day, I felt alive. I wanted to give my absolute best every single day, to a point where now if I'm not training for like a week or so, I really have that itch to go back to the range and at least pick up my weapon for a few minutes. So I think winning, I would not say winning, but the learning part is what plays a major role in an athlete's career. I mean, you could win and still not be happy, but some days you could just learn and you would be the happiest self. And I think I have somewhere experienced it personally, and I am very grateful for the experiences shooting has given me.
Right. So you're saying while winning is important, it's really the love of the sport itself where, you're so deeply involved in it, and that's where your sense of joy or, purpose comes in.
Actually, I would totally agree on that line, ma'am.
What has been your proudest moment of your career so far? I mean, you've had many wins, but what stands out for you?
I mean, there have generally been a lot of moments where I felt really happy that, I'm able to play the sport. But I think every single time when I get to wear India, every single time when the Indian flag is at the topmost point, I think that itches that sense of pride, joy, happiness. I don't know how many adjectives I can add on, but then the feeling that, the Indian flag is soaring at the highest point, and it's because, I can do something for my country. I think that feeling is definitely very close to my heart. But if I really have to speak about instances, I think becoming the world number one will always be one of the very close moments to my heart. And winning the World Cup finals, the Globe, there was this little moment where Gagan sir had also won the World Cup finals, and he has his Globe, and I took my Globe when I went to meet him after becoming the world number one. And we have a picture in which I'm holding his Globe and his medal, and he's holding my Globe and my medal. So that is one of the very special moments for me, that I'm able to follow my mentor and bring laurels to my country. So I think these are little instances that bring me immense joy when I think about them.
Right. Now I can just imagine sharing that moment with your mentor would be something truly special.
Yes.
Also want to ask you, because I think for people in general, like Olympics is it, like that's how people consume the sport. Now you've been through 2 Olympic cycles so far, and to share a little bit about your experience at the Paris Olympics. What were the kind of were there expectations that you were going with? I mean, I think from what I had read, there were 2 particular shots. I mean, the 57 shots were really good, and then it just came down to 2 shots, which meant that like the berth in the finals could not be there. Just take us through the whole Paris Olympic experience for you.
I think expectations, yes. I mean, I had expectations from myself, and I'm very sure everybody around me had a little expectation, but they made sure that they are not making me feel in any way that they are expecting something out of me. But then I somewhere definitely had expectations out of me, and I'm glad that I got a chance to be my absolute best at Paris. I mean, Paris match would always be one of the closest matches to my heart, and I'm glad that I got a chance to be in Paris, firstly. Secondly, as I mentioned, I was my absolute best, technically, physically, mentally. I was at my pinnacle, and yes, somewhere I did miss out on my place to the finals, but the learning what I took from Paris, I think that is what has been playing a very major role in my career right now. I mean, the happiness that I had post my Paris match, the sadness, of course, of not making it to the finals, but the happiness of being my absolute best from shot 1 till the 60th shot. I think that joy, the learning is going to stay with me forever. I'm glad that I had a great support system, and I still have a great support system who are tirelessly working with me and want to make sure that I get the best for the country. So I think it is their efforts that kept me giving my absolute best in the entire Paris cycle until date. And I'm really glad that, I'm having such support system that are supporting me every single day and are standing by me.
Right. If you can actually take us back to that particular moment, because as spectators, one also wonders what goes inside the mind of the athlete. Like what happened in those, like how were those 57 shots different from those 2 specific shots? So if I may ask you, what went into your mind, and what was the learning that you took away from that?
One thing that I tell myself every day, like since post Tokyo, is that it's not over until it's over. So I think this is one of the biggest learnings that I've got from Tokyo, because somewhere by 54, 55 shots, I knew that I was doing really well, and I was like, I started to relax a bit, which kind of went into the negative way, and I had 2 really low 10s, and I think that somewhere made me realize that, it's not over until it's over. Nothing specific was going in my head, because at that point, there is nothing that I can do other than follow my process. So I was more into following my process and again giving my absolute best for the next remaining 2-3 shots. So I think this were the set of thoughts that I could sit back and note down after my match.
Right. Fantastic. And so again, people mostly know about Olympics, but what are some of the other more coveted formats that exist in shooting? If you could share a little about that.
I think World Championships is considered as one of the biggest events, especially for shooting. We have the Asian Games, the Asian Championships, which I think India made a remarkable achievement in the last month. The team made a huge record of 99 medals in the Asian Championship from the youth to the senior category. We have the Commonwealth Games. Of course, shooting has been exploded. Shooting have not been the part of the last Commonwealth cycle, but then again, India have had remarkable medals in the Commonwealths and the Asian Championships and the World Cups. Of course, we have quite a number of World Cups in a year, and I think these are some of the major competitions that happen in a year's span of.
Right. And in terms of your own goals, which of these championships are ones that are important for you, or in terms of your future plans, what is it that you'll be looking for?
I think currently I'm in a zone where I'm taking one day at a time. I'm not really focusing on the championships. I'm not really focusing on how I'm going to perform or what my performance would be or my expectations, but it is more about enjoying today, enjoying what I'm doing right now and giving the day my absolute best. So I think this is the goal as of for now.
So if we just can shift a little gears, and I'd love to ask you a little bit from a perspective of an early learner. So in many sports, like starting early is said to give you an advantage. How early can you start in shooting, and is that a benefit? Does it help?
That's a really interesting question, because I professionally started shooting when I was 15 years old. I was doing shooting before that, but it was more as a hobby and not as a professional sport that I was, practicing every single day. So I started shooting when I was 15, and somewhere I felt that the age of 15 was good for me, because I was able to grasp and understand the sport in a very better way, in a very clearer way. For me, although I had started the sport by the time when I was 12, 13, it was 15 when I got a good understanding of the sport. It was 15 when I could grasp the sport in a much better way and could sustain it for a longer period of time. But now I think starting the sport at the age of 11, 12 is considered very optimal, because the kid grows and at the same time the learning keeps on growing. So by the time the kid is 14, 15 years old, they are already making it to the national stage and possibly in the junior team or in the youth team. So I think for me, 15 played a very easy role, because it helped me in my transition as well. 3 years into my junior circuit, I was already transitioning into the senior circuit. So for me, it was really good. But I think I see athletes coming in at the age of 11, 12 and doing absolutely best, and we get to learn from them as well. So I am really glad that, the kids are choosing sports like shooting and are continuing up with it.
Yeah. I think the exposure seems to be like growing. I mean, previously, at an age of 10, it was completely unheard of, today. And in fact, I think our junior team is doing really, really well in most of the world formats.
Absolutely. The juniors have been winning medals, and it definitely inspires all of us around them to, better ourselves out.
Right. Now, we spoke about skills of a shooter. In your mind, what are the key skills that one needs or can help someone to excel as a shooter? Because if someone has to evaluate to say that there are so many options of sports to take up, why shooting? So what can be a starting point for someone?
I think it is... Okay, to speak about qualities, I don't think there is any relative measurement that can say that you will be a good shooter and you will not be a good shooter. I think it's about the interest and it's about the enjoyment that you get out of the sport. I mean, if at the end of the day I enjoyed myself at the range, I feel that I'm good. I did my absolute best and I enjoyed it. And this is what it is all about. At the end of the day, it's all about how fun, how interesting can you make the sport. So I don't think there is relatively any judgment that I can give, because I felt that I was never cut out for shooting, because shooting being a very calm, very still sport, and me being someone who was very active, who wanted to do so many things, I never felt that I was cut out for shooting. But if I can train myself to do it, I think anybody out there can do it. So I don't think that there is any relative judgment for the sport.
Yeah, I think that's very fascinating about shooting also, that many of the conventional barriers that may exist for a particular sport, like let's say you need certain kind of fitness or agility. I mean, that's like either you have it or you don't have, though you can train and learn. but it helps to have certain kind of, I think that doesn't exist. Even age for that matter is not
Exactly.
really a barrier, right? Like you don't have to be,
Exactly.
you can have someone of a much older age group, but even then I guess like there are more young people now in shooting more than ever, not just in India but in other geographies too. Why do you think that happens though?
I think the young minds are able to grasp the sport very well, and they are able to perform it because they don't have any expectations out of themselves. They are just enjoying the sport out there. They would have learned A to Z and they are just implementing the A to Z in the sport. I think for them it is more about getting to do a sport every single day. So I think that is something that I have also been trying to implement in my sport. And as you very clearly mentioned, ma'am, the age factor is not really relevant in a sport like shooting. I mean, my dad has started shooting very recently and he is like enjoying himself out there. And I'm glad that, shooting is a sport in which age is not really a barrier.
So, if there is a young athlete who wants to try their hand out in shooting, what's the best way for them to begin?
I think, as I mentioned earlier, there are in any city, there are a lot of private shooting ranges that have come up. And I think it is best to get the kid enrolled there. The ranges, I'm sure, would be equipped with the basic training facilities, with a range, with the equipment and everything. And I think that could be a good start for a kid of 11 years old. After maybe a year or 2 year period of time, the kid and the parent could then decide if the kid really wants to take up the sport professionally, or if the kid want to try out some other sport. Maybe a rifle shooter would want to try out pistol, or a pistol kid would want to go and try out rifle. So maybe that transition can also be done. So I think starting out would be joining any club and then going out from there.
Right. And in terms of figuring out the format, whether you use a pistol or an air rifle, how does an shooter go about figuring like how did you figure out which was the optimal? Was that something that you got exposed to early on and hence you stuck with it? Or how does that really work?
I think I never knew shooting as a sport. When I heard shooting for the first time, I was like, there's some movie shooting going on, and I was more excited to see the cameras around. But, when I got introduced to the sport, I only knew there was rifle. Later on, when I really started getting exposed to the sport, that is when I got to know there's something called pistol. But by the time I had already fallen in love with rifle, and I just knew that I want to be a rifle shooter. But as a question, the kid can try out both for a few months stretch, and then the kid could decide which one would they want to do it. Maybe they might be inclined towards pistol, or the kid would be inclined towards rifle, and then they can choose whichever one they want to do it.
Right. And I would also want to ask you, so in the past, what would happen in terms of the career of an athlete is that they would evolve, let's say, into a coach or maybe part of a federation, but careers as athletes were not that viable, which was also one of the reasons that Indian parents traditionally have, kind of stuck with academics as the path, as a safe path. My own theory now is that that's actually changing with the coming of AI, and knowledge work is going away, jobs are going away. So actually, alternative careers, and in that sense, you can say even sports offers an opportunity. How do you think that has shifted in the last few years? Is it possible to have like a career as an athlete to make a livelihood out of it, or otherwise, what are the other areas that as an athlete or support areas that help an athlete sustain?
That's a really interesting question, ma'am, because now, since I have come into the sport, I have been in the sport for almost a decade now, and I have seen the sport evolve. Not only shooting, but sports in general. And I think the state governments particularly, have been really putting in their efforts to see the athletes from the stage shine. And even the national government has been implementing a lot of different schemes. Like we have the TOP scheme, the Khelo India scheme, of the Khelo India, the youth games, the college games, and there are so many initiatives that have come up in the recent times that are definitely helping the athletes, not only in shooting, but giving a good career guidance, because now there are a lot of companies that the corporates, they take up athletes into their workspace, or the state governments do offer jobs for the well-doing athletes in the state. So I think now in this period of time, as you mentioned that jobs are being fired up in a lot of places, I think sports people, we do have a great future, because sports is always going to improve and it is going to keep on in the positive track. And I'm sure that the government also is making sure that, the athletes are not being left out and they are being supported in every possible way, not only when they are in the sport, but also when they have planned their retirement and they want to become a coach or they want to work in any private sector or for that matter in the government sector.
Right. So you're saying there is a growing support both from the government and the corporates, which is helping
Yes.
athletes sustain their careers. Also, do share more about. So, for example, the shooting league of there is now a growth of pathways like that. Also, that leagues are now being launched. Can you share a little about what role, in your mind, will that play in the coming years? In both in identifying strong talent pipeline, but also giving them the opportunity of standing out, of exposure.
I think leagues like the Shooting League of India is really important to put the sport in the spotlight, because still now, even after winning so many Olympic medals from the sport of shooting, I think shooting is still not very widely reachable to many people. And I think leagues like this will definitely put good spotlight on the sport, give a good understanding of how the sport works. And considering the athlete circle where I am a part of, I feel that leagues like this not only gives us exposure to work with the athletes from the world, but then to learn from them and incorporate that in our shooting as well and possibly improve from it. Speaking of league, and I think that this league particularly will incorporate a lot of new talents, and I think that is what we require right now. We require a lot of new talents because a lot of new talents have been emerging. And I think the league will definitely, push all the kids, the new minds, the young minds to take up the sport and try it out professionally.
The league is mostly for Indian players, or would there be players from overseas?
No, there will be players from the overseas, yes. There are going to be a lot of foreigners as well.
Which is fantastic too, because I think exposure on our own, because that's the other thing, that Indian athletes typically have always had to travel overseas to get that kind of exposure. But for young
Exactly.
talent to be able to get that exposure in their own home front, I think can be fantastic.
Yes, there definitely will be, ma'am. And I really hope that, the league becomes a huge success and all the athletes get benefited from it.
When does the league start?
It's scheduled from November 20th to December 6th.
Okay. This is happening in Delhi.
It's happening. The first edition is happening in Delhi, yes.
Lovely, fantastic. Just about shooting in general as a sport, how is it different in your mind from other sports?
I think shooting is like meditation to me, because I leave the entire bundle of my personal life out of the shooting range, and I am an entire different person when I'm on the lane. I'm more focused, I'm more goal oriented, I'm more process oriented. I just know what I'm doing and I'm just in my element. So for me, shooting is like meditation, and I would trade anything off to be able to play for my country one more day. So as I have tried out many other sports, I think shooting brings me a lot of peace and happiness.
Fantastic. So, sports science has been growing in the last couple of years, and I think there's a lot of focus, for example, on, let's say, fitness. Is that something that you follow in your own regime, or how important is fitness for a shooter?
I really would say that fitness plays a huge role in a sport like shooting, because we stand in weird postures. There are a lot of tension that happens in the body, and we continue staying in those weird postures for a very elongated period of time. Let's say if I'm training on my on season, I would be training for like 3 hours, and if it's my off season, I might want to train for 4 to 5 hours a day. And that really puts a lot of attention on the body parts that I am using it to control my body. So I think fitness really helps reverse the entire effect of the weird posture in shooting, and fitness plays a major role in injury prevention, especially for us, because we have hyperextended knees. We put all the load on our feet, on our ankles. So I think working out, fitness definitely plays a huge role in injury prevention. And I think that although fitness is not that spoken in shooting, but then it really plays a major role.
What does your fitness regime look like?
So for me, I really focus on my core workouts. I do a lot of cardio because at the end of the day, when our heart rate is really high and I really have to get my body into control, I think breathing really helps. And for that, I have to have a good cardio. So I work a lot on my cardio. I work a lot on my core because again, we are shooting at 10 meters and we are aiming at a needle tip and shooting at it. So I think the core strength is really important. So my fitness regime generally revolves around cardio, core, and general body exercise.
Right. What about nutrition? How important is food, or does it play? You spoke about controlling the heart rate. So does nutrition come into play in that?
I definitely feel that nutrition is again one of the less spoken areas when it comes to a sport like shooting because, again, we don't run, so we are not doing anything very agilent. And I feel that, yes, nutrition definitely plays a huge role because I as a rifle shooter, we have the costumes that we wear and 1 week of excessive eating and then we feel that everything is tighter. So I think we have to have a good nutrition and fitness regime, of course, to maintain our health, but to also see the consequences of it in the sport. Because when we have a lot of caffeine, there is a good chance that our heart rate is going to increase in the next hour or so. So for that, if I'm going to train at 9 in the morning, I'll have to make sure that, I'm not having a coffee or anything that is going to raise my heart rate. And we could do a lot of exercises that could help regulate my heart rate in a way that, I am able to get a good control on it. So I think, yes, nutrition again plays a huge role in a sport.
Right. Also in terms of coaches or infrastructure now, previously a lot of Indian shooters would, let's say, go overseas, train with, let's say, a German coach or, an international coach on different aspects of their game, right from psychology to the technique itself. How have things changed now? Do we continue to, do we have access to international, or do we have more in-house talent that's available for these areas?
I think, personally speaking, I have been working with my coach for the past 11 years now, and I have no plans of going anywhere. I feel that India definitely has a lot of good coaches, and I can see that from the talent that's been coming out, especially in the junior circuit. There are a lot of new coaches whose athletes have been doing really, really well. And I feel that that particular myth that, we have to go abroad to train or, we have to find a foreign coach who would be better, I think that has been coming down. And I'm really glad that that's happening because India definitely has a huge expert people in the sport. And now that a lot of medalists, especially Manu and Sarabjo, they all have been training here, I think the sport definitely has good exposure in terms of coaching and infrastructure.
Right. And how important is the presence of a mental coach? Do you have someone who helps you on psychology, and how does that really work?
I think I have told this many times and I would repeat myself again, that shooting, although it looks like, we are taking a lot of load on ourselves and, shooting with the kit and with the rifle and everything, but I think it's 80% a mental sport than it's physical. So I think the mental aspect plays a huge role in a sport of shooting because one day your body would have given up, you would be tired and everything, but then if you're mentally strong, you'll be able to outperform yourself. And I believe in it, and I have been working with someone for the past decade, and I'm really glad that I got an opportunity to train with someone professional and learn the tactics that is still helping me in my sport and my personal life as well. So I think a psychologist really plays a huge role in a sport like shooting where concentration and focus plays very major roles.
So if one was to ask you maybe some tips like when you're, and people could be experiencing that kind of moment in sports or non-sports when they really need to focus but their mind is running everywhere and there are distractions that are coming, how do you calm yourself down? How do you calm down and focus on what you need to? I mean, we hear about that, stay focused on your process. Across sports you would hear, like, don't think about outcomes, think about process, but how do you do that?
I think for me, breathing plays a very huge role. The moment I start focusing on my breathing, I feel everything around me vanishes and it's only me and myself standing at that particular place. So for me, if I had to give one tip to anybody out there, in sport, not in sports, in personal life, if you want to zone into yourself, I think start focusing on your breathing. Take deep inhale, take deep exhale, and you would automatically be in the moment and you would be in yourself. I think that is the best thing that I have learned it, I have implemented it, I have experienced it, and I would like to pass it on.
Fantastic. So breathing, it just comes down to basics. We always look for something more exciting, but it always comes down to basics.
It all comes down to basics.
Lovely. So Ilumina, this show is also seen by a lot of sports parents, and the idea is also for parents who are kind of exploring different sports for their parents. I would imagine shooting, because it's such a technical sport, parents would have a limited role, thankfully, in that, because often enough
Yeah.
in sports, the criticism against parents is that they may not understand the technicality of it, but we like to give our own perspective or feedback on how the athlete should be performing.
I hope you're not speaking from your personal experience.
Well, I've definitely seen that in the sport with my child also, which is also a very technical sport, but that's a criticism that's made against generally in parents. I wouldn't say Indian parents, that we'd like to give our expert opinion, even though we don't exactly understand how it works, and in fact, to be in that place and position, what it takes. It's easier to say that from the sidelines, whereas the person who's doing it, what it takes. So just a little bit about the role that your parents played, and what would be your advice to other sports parents?
I think parents generally are very enthusiastic when it comes to their kids pursuing a sport, and I think all this opinions and advices and criticism, it all comes from a place of love. I feel that I mean, no parent would want their kid to fail, and in that process they feel that they are trying to push the kid, but then at the end of the day, all a kid feels, or all an athlete like me, we feel that we are always being criticized. Why do I have to push myself so much? And there's always this emotion that is not really positive. So I personally am really glad that my parents let me be myself, and they always have supported me. Even when the times when I had not really won and I felt very agitated, very frustrated on myself, why wasn't I performing? I remember my mom coming and telling me it's just another match, it's just another day. You have such a long way to go. And especially after Tokyo, when I was really dejected, I didn't know what to do. If I really wanted to continue the sport, if I wanted to give everything up, buckle myself up into something else. I think it was my mom who was more, positive in this aspect, and was like, this is your starting point. I mean, people end their career here, but then you are hardly 20, 21, and this is like your starting point. You have so many more years ahead of you, and there's so much more for you to explore. So I think somewhere parents, especially my mom, my dad, my parents, they kept on supporting me, and till date are doing the same. I would also urge out to all the other parents to, put your trust on the kid. I mean, of course, the kid is there to win. You want your kid to win. At the end of the day, everybody wants to win. But then there are going to be times when the kid is going to learn. And those times are the hardest, and those times are the time when the kid needs your absolute support. And as a parent, nobody would understand support better than you. You would have experienced it in your life, and I'm sure kid would be expecting the same out of you. Winning is going to happen someday, but the trust part plays the major role in the athlete, in the kid believing in themselves and achieving greater success. So I would say that all the love, I think the love should be there. Opinions, criticism, yes, it's going to be there as a part of the kid's life, but then there are so much time for the kid to learn, for the athlete to incorporate that criticism, because it is going to come from everywhere else. So if there is one place where criticism would not be there, where opinions would not be there, it is a place where you could come at the end of the day and relax, and that is family to me. And I'm very sure that is family to 90% of the athletes out there. So I feel that parents just have to put your trust and give them the love what they deserve, and just trust that they are going to be their absolute best.
Yeah, I think sometimes a lot of focus is on structuring and organizing. Like, you're taking your children from one tournament, and that's also a lot of work that needs to be there. There's a lot of discipline routines, waking up, managing, balancing different imperatives. But I think what you said about parents and the need for them to be the emotional anchors, which also as a parent I can tell you is not always easy, because you have to manage your own emotions
Exactly.
well to be able to support. But it's what you're saying is an important part of the job of a sports parent. So yeah. One thing I do want to ask is, in your early years, because school plays a very important role in India. In a lot of countries, for example, kids may be doing open schooling, or there may be more flexible formats. But over here, our kids are actually always trying to do both. They're expected to excel both in the sport as well as managing school. How did you tackle that? Balancing school with your sport.
I think, as I mentioned, I started shooting when I was in my 10th grade. I was 15 years old, and that was a huge decision for my parents, especially to let me. My school was like 30 kilometers from my house, and to take that decision of changing the school when I was in my 10th grade was a huge decision. But again, my parents really supported me in it. If they believed that if I wanted to explore the area of sport, I should be given the chance, and I'm glad they took that chance, because it does get difficult at a period of time where I was trying to manage my education and I was trying to travel. I was going for competitions, I was playing international matches. Somewhere I did, my education did take a step back, but I knew that, sports is what I'm going to pursue. Sports is something that I am going to pursue, and something that I love. And if I'm loving something, it is not going to break my heart anytime soon. So somewhere I had the confidence, my parents had the confidence, and it was a complete entrust of emotions, trust that I had put into the sport, and I put in myself that, I wanted to do it and I will do it. So yes, managing it does get difficult at times, because you'll have to manage your training, your school, your tuition and everything, and you're going to get tired, you're going to get frustrated, because times will be hard. But then I for once knew that this is something that I wanted to do, and this is something that I love to do, and I did not want to give up on any of it. I loved studying, at the same time I loved my sports. So somewhere I just had to find the middle ground where I was able to do both and be good at one of them, yes, but then be a manageable student at the other time.
Right. I think another thing about, when you're playing internationally is, to people outside, it looks very glamorous when you're traveling, because, and also in the age of social media, when you put out a picture, all that people see is glamour. But can you tell us what it really entails when you're traveling, and in a sport like shooting, where I believe there is there's a lot of stuff that you're carrying with it, and you have a lot of permissions and customs and all of that to be managed. Can you tell us a little about what that looks like?
I think shooting really tests the patience of the athlete, because we have to reach airport at least 6 hours before when we are traveling internationally, because the custom clearance alone would take so much time. And there is the GMR clearance, the OOG clearance and everything. So I think it definitely takes a toll on us, because there's a lot of paperwork involved. And then at times, there have been times when our weapon has been stuck at one place, or the baggages have been stuck at one place, and we have already reached our destination, and then, we are waiting for our weapons, our bags and everything. So I think a lot goes on there, but then there is a lot of stuff that is going on mentally as well, because in a sport of shooting, as I mentioned, it's a mental sport. You are always into the zone of focus. There would be the match pressure going on. You would be all into, like, what will happen? How will I train? How will I perform? What is my day going to look like? What time is my competition? What time is my finals? So you have to manage everything in a very particular way. And shooting as a sport, again, the mental role plays a huge impact. You would be waking up on odd times. There's a time zone difference. You probably would not have slept the last night, but then you have to give your absolute best the next on the competition day. So I think there are a lot of stuff that's involved, but again, if you'd ask any athlete, we would proudly say that we are just glad to be out there, to be representing our country and getting to wear the Indian flag every single day.
Right. And the travel part, do you get to explore other places?
Definitely get to explore new countries, yes, after our matches, of course, but then we do have the liberty to go to new places, try out their local cuisine and have a good time to us.
Fantastic. Just final questions for someone who's starting out. What should they focus on? Is it about technique? Is it about mental preparation? What should a new person, a new shooter be looking at?
I think a new athlete in the sport of shooting should be only focusing on the technicality, because the technique, the basics play a very, very huge role. Because even till date, if I look back to something, it would be the basics. If given a chance, I would love to go work on my basics and, explore it, learn it even thoroughly, and just be at it, because basics play a very, very huge role. Because at the end of the day, it all comes down to how easily you can streamline your process and how easily you can repeat it for every single shot. So I think any new athlete, I would suggest to focus on the technical aspects and to strengthen your basics to the core, because basics are the thing that is going to take you to the pinnacle.
And just briefly speaking about role models, what in your view is the importance of, who are your role models in shooting? They could be your peers or they could be, past champions. If you could share a little about that.
I think for me, my parents will always be my role models, and my brother. If I was really inclined towards shooting, it was also because my brother was in an army school, and he used to come and tease me that, I tried this and I tried that pistol, we got to shoot a gun and everything. And I was like, why can't I? In sport, I have amazing people. I've seen amazing people shoot, and I'm really glad that I've got a chance to interact with them, learn from them. Mehuli, Rudransh from the Indian shooting team, they have really, really outdone themselves, and I'm really glad that I get to shoot beside such brilliant athletes and get to learn from them. They inspire me a lot. But at the end of the day, I think I get inspired a lot from myself, because there have been times when I felt of giving up, but still continued and gave myself that one chance of bettering myself every single day. And I'm glad that I was able to do myself and inspire myself every single day.
And what was it like to win the Arjuna Award? What was that experience like that for you?
I think that will always be a very surreal moment in my whole career, because it kind of gave a recognition to my career, to all my medals that I had won. It was not an achievement for a particular medal, but to the hard work that I had put in, to the hard work that people had put in for me. I think that really is a very special moment for me. And I was really glad that I had both my parents with me when I was receiving the award, and I could see the happiness in their face as well. So I think I'm really glad that I could give back to my sport and to my family.
Lovely, fantastic. Thanks so much, Elavenil, for making time for this conversation, and wishing you all the very best. I think I have to say that we have a lot of expectations from our shooters and from you. And I think what really stood out for me when I spoke with you, one definitely is your cheerful demeanor, which also says that there isn't only one way of being being a shooter. And this again comes because when I would see or read about Abhinav, there was so much intensity and so much seriousness, versus when I see someone like you, there's a lot of joy or cheer about you. It just tells us there isn't only one way of being a champion or an athlete. There are so many different ways of being one. So thank you so much for making time and sharing your journey on raising an athlete.
The pleasure is all